Picture this. You are 68 years old, have almost $1 million in your retirement account. You did everything the magazines told you to do. You saved aggressively. You maxed out your 401k for 15 years straight. You crossed that magical seven-figure threshold everyone talks about. And now, 3 years into retirement, you are sitting at your kitchen table at 2 a.m., calculator in hand, trying to figure out if you can afford to keep your house. Most people assume the magic happens at $1 million because it sounds clean. It sounds achievable, like the kind of number that should change everything. But mathematically, for the majority of American households, the functional turning point happens earlier. Below $750,000, every mistake is permanent. A bad withdrawal in year 2 of retirement can cascade into a decade of damage. Damage that you simply cannot recover from. One poorly timed market drop combined with one unplanned expense. And suddenly you're not just behind schedule, you're structurally broken. Now add Social Security. The average retired worker pulls roughly $1,800 to $2,000 monthly. Call it $22,000 to $24,000 annually. Married couple with 2 benefit streams? You are looking at somewhere between $30,000 and $45,000 combined, depending on your work history and exactly when you filed. Stack that with your portfolio draw. A household sitting on $750,000 saved, collecting 2 Social Security checks, lands around $60,000 to $70,000 gross per year. That number doesn't make you rich, but it pulls you across a line most people don't see until they're already on the wrong side of it. Below this threshold, a good market year feels nice. Your account goes up. You smile at the statement, but it doesn't change what you can actually do. Your lifestyle stays completely locked. This is where the game flips. When you're working, the question is simple. How much can I add this year? When you're retired or close to it, the question inverts. How much can this money safely produce without running out? That question only has teeth once the base is large enough to generate meaningful cash flow. Below $750,000, you are still in accumulation mode, whether you admit it or not. Above it, you're in income production and capital preservation. It is a completely different rule book. Longevity makes this threshold even sharper. Roughly half the people who hit 65 will live past 85. 1 in 3 makes it to 90. Your retirement is a short bridge. It is a multi-decade stretch where inflation, withdrawal rates, tax treatment, and market timing matter. They suddenly matter more than they ever did during your working years. At lower portfolio levels, inflation quietly erodes purchasing power, faster than small gains can replace it. Sequence risk, the order in which returns hit your account. It can wreck a plan before you even notice the damage. At $750,000, you gain something critical, not immunity, margin. A 4% withdrawal gives you $30,000. Combined with Social Security, you're suddenly pulling a livable income, an income that survives without cannibalizing the base. That margin changes everything, not because you're rich, because you stop making decisions like someone who is drowning. You stop panic selling in February. You stop gambling on high-yield trash. You stop treating your portfolio like a slot machine and start treating it like an income engine, an engine that needs to survive 20 or 30 years. The shift isn't just mathematical, it is behavioral. Below this line, growth dominates your thinking because you feel like you're behind. You lean aggressive because you think you need to catch up. The problem is that big losses hurt exponentially more than big gains, especially when you're already in retirement. A 30% drop on $400,000 when you are pulling 7%. That is not a setback, that is permanent damage. But once you cross into this range, the priority flips. You stop trying to maximize return. You start trying to prevent catastrophic loss. You build cash reserves. You balance allocations and accept that protecting the base matters. It matters more than squeezing out another point of yield. And here is the part most people miss. Sequence of returns, risk stops being theoretical and starts being the single biggest threat to your plan. A bad market in year 2 of retirement can wreck your sustainability, even if the next 18 years look fine on paper. At $750,000, you finally have enough margin to weather that early storm without forcing yourself into a death spiral of high withdrawals. High withdrawals during low account values. This is also where tax strategy stops being an afterthought. Below this threshold, taxes feel secondary because you're just trying to survive. Above it, taxes quietly become one of the largest drags on your lifetime income. Suddenly it matters whether you're pulling from traditional IRAs, Roth accounts, or taxable brokerage. It matters when you take Social Security. It matters how you structure withdrawals to avoid Medicare surcharges. The difference between a smart tax plan and a sloppy one, it can be $100,000 or more over 20 years. This sounds trivial. It is trivial. That is the point. You're not optimizing tax strategy here. You're building a fence between your spending brain and your survival money. Because the biggest threat to a $750,000 portfolio isn't a market crash. It is you in month 3 of a downturn, convincing yourself that pulling an extra $10,000 for a roof repair won't matter. It does matter. Every unplanned withdrawal during a down market. It locks in losses you can't recover. Gary didn't fail because he was reckless. He failed because he treated his portfolio like a savings account. When his car broke down, he pulled $8,000. When his daughter needed help, he pulled $12,000. When the market dropped and his balance hit $300,000, he panicked and sold. None of those decisions felt wrong in the moment, but they compounded. And by the time he realized the damage, he was 70 years old and back at work. Linda and Mark did something different. They kept 2 years of expenses in cash reserves. They set a fixed monthly transfer. When Mark wanted to help their son buy a house, they didn't touch the portfolio. They adjusted the next year's budget instead. When the market dropped, they reduced their transfer slightly and lived off reserves. They never sold in panic. They never had to. The system protected them from themselves. This won't make you rich. It won't beat the market. It will do something more important. It will show you whether your withdrawal rate is actually sustainable. Because if you can't live on that monthly transfer, you're pulling too much. And if you're pulling too much, no amount of market growth will save you. The retirees who make it aren't the ones with the best returns. They're the ones who never had to sell at the bottom. And the only way to avoid selling at the bottom is to never need the money in the first place. Linda had that option because she crossed the threshold early and built reserves. Gary didn't. So one bad sequence erased his margin for error. So here is the smallest move that actually compounds. Stop treating your portfolio like it owes you excitement. Treat it like a machine that needs 3 things to survive. 1, honest inputs. Write down your total investable assets right now. Not your house, not your car, just liquid accounts. Write down your Social Security estimate. Write down what you actually spend per year, not what you wish you spent. Guessing kills more retirements than market crashes. 2, a withdrawal sequence you decide before you need the money. Which account gets tapped first? What spending you'll cut if returns disappoint? What you'll never touch, no matter what. If you can't answer those 3 questions in 1 sentence each, you don't have a plan, you have a wish. 3, someone who gets paid to protect the plan, not sell you products, a fee-only fiduciary. Ask them to explain sequence risk, tax drag, and withdrawal strategy in plain English. So here is the question. Are you below it, near it, or past it? Comment one of those 3. And If you want retirement guidance that protects what you've already built instead of chasing what you don't need, subscribe to Michael on Money.